I see the recording message. It's in the upper left-hand corner.
I see it. Okay, Sheldon, you can start.
All right, very good. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. I'd like to welcome you to the third RRE Zoom meeting. And I'm delighted to report, Steve can see it on this, we have 15 participants. This is a record for our beginning, for our early Zoom. I have to say that August was not really a, regularly scheduled meeting. And in September, as Paul pointed out, we were competing in LIST and ERA. So just a reminder, those people who remember, news notices either by e-bulletin or by regular mail will be going out in a few weeks. So
Good.
really all I have to say, I'm going to turn it back over to Steve.
Okay, now my program will consist of maybe approximately 240 digital photos of various conventions, Metropolitan New York Bus Association trips, ERA trips and conventions, and personal trips, let's say in the US and Canada from coast to coast. Some go back a number of years. Okay, I'd like to start. Okay, share computer sound. Yeah. Okay, so I'm now screen sharing. You should be able to see what my desktop looks like.
No.
What the hell is this?
Are you able to see A1? Okay, you know what? I'm going to start with the ERA Sacramento-based convention in 1999. Let's just click on it here. Okay, but before we go there, I have 3 bonus photos.
Wow.
This is on the vintage Brighton Beach Line trains that ran the day of June 17th of 2015. This is in Brighton Beach. And let me go to the next one.
You must mean 2019.
It was, this is 2017.
Rated trains.
The first one, it was 2018, right? Vintage. This one was another one taken. It looks like on the right is an IND car, and on the left is a BMT car. Let me just identify the other one. I think on the other one, the right is BMT, and I think just from the front, that might be more of an IND. I'm not sure because it's in the shade.
That's the standards.
Oh, that's the standards. Okay, let me go to the third one. Oh, now this is one of 4 BMT car concerts. It was taken on June 26, 2016. A triplex model car that ran on the West End line.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember. It looks like you see Bond Bread is being advertised there in East Brooklyn Savings Bank.
Yeah.
You remember when that being in business? All right, now this is the first photo of that ERA convention 99. Now this is the San Francisco Municipal Railway 10003. It's the lone survivor of an order of 5 cars built by the St. Louis Car Company for the Muni in 1939, and it seats 50. This was in that Western Railway Museum. I forget the exact name, but it's in
Rio Vista.
Rio Vista, California. That's it. Okay, and this is a Petaluma and Santa Rosa car 63. It's a little wooden suburban car, and it was built in San Francisco by the Holman Car Company in 1904. And it's seats 44. Okay, wait, Cora Sola, I just admitted. Okay, so she'll be joining us. Yeah, greetings, Cora. I'm now doing the ERA based out of Sacramento in 1980. Next is the, looks like this was a chartered car. Boy, I see you sitting down. And this was taken from the Doodle Bug in Tucson City, California. And though if the photo was out of focus, I still liked it. It almost looks like a painting in some ways. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to just, I forgot to mute. I'm just going to have to.
Beautiful car.
You know what? I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
I have to stop share for a minute, minimize this.
Hi,
And
Cora. How you doing?
Are you, okay, I'm able to be heard. Okay, now I'll go back to screen share. Okay, and this is an Oregon Electric Car 101, the wooden parlor car, observation car built by Niles Car and Manufacturing Company of Niles, Ohio in 1910. It ran from Portland, Oregon to Eugene, Oregon, and it ran for 122-mile route. It was, I think it's the 30 pass. This is an articulated steel suburban car built by Bethlehem Shipyard, Wilmington, Delaware in 1937. It was designed to run over the Bay Bridge. It looks like it was nicely restored. Next, this is the Bethlehem Shipbuilding Company of San Francisco built its K car number 178, 1923. And it spent its entire service life on the streets of San Francisco.
Yep.
And this ran between Petaluma, Sebastopol, and Santa Rosa with a branch to Forestville until service ended in 1932. Herb Waterwall, I guess he must have briefly left. Okay, I'll read it. All right, and here we were waiting for the Doodle Bug. You see, here we were getting on and riding the Doodle Bug. That was really fun to ride. And this was an exterior shot of the San Joaquin chartered train that ran round trip from Sacramento. That was a fun ride. Favorite is rounding a curve. And this is the N Judah line. It's a Muni light rail line in San Francisco. And it was so named that it runs along Judah Street for much of its length. And this was named after railroad engineer Theodore Judah. It links downtown San Francisco to the Coal Valley and Sunset neighborhoods. You see the Mattons are there, like Bob Matton, his wife, late wife Judy. Oh, and yeah, this is Caltrain, right? Caltrain, it's a commuter rail route between San Francisco and Gilbrook. And originally the San Francisco and San Jose Railroad that begun in 1863. That's who ran it originally, started. It was acquired by Caltrain in 1992. And this cable car was built by Holman in 1906. It was the last car operated on the O'Farrell, Jones, and Hyde line in May 1954. You can see there's another cable car just in the distance. You see it. And this was built by Cal Cable in 1914. And you see that this is a telephoto shot. It really accentuates the feature. And this is not a focus, but this is the Market Street F1. That's the Embarcadero Tower. And this is another shot of and Judah Community Light Railway. And this is the Oakland Amtrak, Jack London Square. And this is another shot. This is the tower, Jack London Square. This is the Southern Pacific freight train station. And this is an Amtrak also, that station. And this is a Union Pacific model EMD E9A built in June 1955. And this is Theodore Judah, who was the chief engineer for the Sierra Nevada for the Central Pacific Rail. And this is at 2nd and L Street in Old Sacramento. This is taken. Hopefully.
Those are the engines that just got sold to Metro. Those locomotives are working on Metro now in Chicago.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, they're rebuilt and everything. You never know what they are, but that's what they are.
Good to know. Now in Sacramento, this is the A484 Northern Steam locomotive built 1927 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works for the AT and SF, who once owned more than 5 dozen such designs. You see, it drew quite a crowd. This is Southern Pacific number 4449, class BS 4484 Northern type steam locomotive built by the Lima Locomotive Works, 1940. This was also, and this is the California State Railroad region. This is the and this is the El Muni Metro Rapid Line near the ocean on Caravan Street. This was and this was built, the one on was built in 1914, number 1. Let me go back. I went to number 130, operated on almost every streetcar line during its initial career, and it was retired in 1958. This is a close-up shot of 130. I'm not sure just the history of this car, the car. And this one, delivery of the Philadelphia Suburban Transportation Company, and it was restored in 1995. Okay, now this is in the storage yard, and the one in the front car is 1010. It was built in 1948 for the National Muni Railway. It was painted in tribute to the magic carpet as Muni's first 5 modern design streetcars were known. And the car 1704 in the front that was built in 1946 by Kalka for the San Francisco Union Railway. And the storage yard near Balboa Park. The middle one runs up. Okay, I'm finished just this. Okay, and next, a bonus, I did take over 60 photos I have here from the NRHS convention in 1982, based out of Denver. The first, this is the Brown Palace Hotel, downtown Denver, opened 1892. Originally, I used Kodachrome, and I had the high resolution digital photos of the. Okay, another photo of that hotel office. It's impressive skylight, like the architect. And the next, what we did, the convention we rode the Denver and Rio Grande or Western Railroad just from Denver to either requesting remote control of your screen. I just wanted that remote control. And the Denver and Rio Grande from 1949 to 1983 when Amtrak took over. Rio Grande never portion of this route ran between Denver and Oakville, Utah from 1970 through 1983. In 1970, it was extended from Salt Lake City to Ogden, with the California Zephyr passengers. They didn't. They had to point the train. Oh, I already did. And our group rode up from Denver as far as Grand Junction. I think I was in the one of the dome cars to take this. I had a white angle. Durango, Colorado was founded by the Denver Rio Grande Railway in 1879. That's where our destination is. This is where it was today. This is another shot. Very go ahead, you impressive scene. See their paddle boating. Look at that scene. I got to re-ride this route even further on the ERA trip here in 2013. We rode this between Denver and Salt Lake City. This is from Morning View the next morning, from our Durango dormitory accommodation. I love that view. When you first look out, it's a great way to start the morning. And here we were getting ready to leave on riding the Durango and Silton Railroad. This was engine 481. It was a K-36 locomotive built by Baldwin in 1925. You see the files in the back. Yes. The 473 was one of 10 K-28 locomotives built by the American Locomotive Works in Schenectady, New York in 1923 for the narrow gauge Durango and Rio Grande, the DNR GW. There were cars 470 to 479. So those were the John Riley. We have someone else. We're drawing a nice crowd for this. And here, the railroad had been in continuous operation between Durango and Silver since 1882. It was founded by the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad. All right, we're on our way. Now, we carried passengers behind vintage steam locomotives and rolling stock indigenous to the line. The National Historic Landmark was awarded as a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark in the late 60s. And this is now operated by the Durango and Silver Narrow Gauge Railroad Museum. Really spectacular. Looked like we had a stop here. I think this was a lunch stop. Okay, we're back on our way. This is in Silver. The middle of town. The 478 was one of 10 K-28 locomotives built by the American Locomotive Works in Schenectady, New York in 1923. Oh, that was from the same of the same 10 that which we saw one in back at Durango. You see quite a head of steam. We can go to the narrow for the Durango and Rio Grande. Close-up shot on our return to Durango. That's quite an impressive drop. You know, I forget that's sort of like a arrow. Goes pretty slow. Just around the curve. This is the late afternoon view of Durango. This is looking in the opposite direction from this point. You can see a different map. Okay, and this, remember, on this convention, you did get a choice of some side trips to take. So on this day, I elected to see the Mesa Verde National Park, Mesa Verde, Colorado. These are Native American. So it's out of focus. I thought it was well worth it. And it was established in 1906 to preserve and interpret the archaeological heritage of the ancestral Pueblo people who made it their home for over 700 years, from 600 to 1300 Common Era. And this is the part of the Mesa Verde National Park. Engine 489 is the 3-foot narrow gauge 282 auto coal-fired steam locomotive built 1925 by Baldwin Locomotive Works, part of their Class A36 process. Another day. Oh, this was the Cumbres and Colfax Scenic Railroad. We had It traverses 64 miles between Cham in New Mexico, or Tamarack, and Antonino, Colorado. It crosses the border from Colorado to New Mexico 11 times. That's quite a distance. The railroad is jointly owned by Colorado and Mexico. The route chugs its way up and over the 10,015 foot high Cumbres Pass, which reported the National Historic Landmark designation in 2012. That's a picture of me. This is a spot that we made at Oakville, Colorado. The inability to interchange with cars with other railroads led Rio Grande to begin converting its track to standard gauge in 1890. The Cumbres Toltec Railroad Company, an interstate agency authorized by an act of Congress in 1974, operates the railroad. The open air. Now we have Chris Fisher. Now we have 18 people. Led to a festival. And it's originally constructed in 1880 as part of the Rio Grande narrow gauge San Juan extension, which served the silver mining district of the San Juan Mountains, southwest of Colorado. Constructed 40 years ago. Here's a great exciting view of returning by bus. And on another day, this was our number 844 steam locomotive of Union Pacific Railroad. It was delivered in 1944. It was renumbered to 8444 to eliminate confusion, I think, with some other cars. It was delivered. Well, on this trip, I think we charted the steam locomotive train that ran between Denver and Sterling, Colorado. And a high-speed passenger engine is both widely known trains as the Oakville Limited, Los Angeles Limited, Ball and Rose, and Challenger. An extra 4, here's the story behind it. Extra 4 was added to this number in 1992, distinguish it from a diesel number in the 800 series. It's quite a bit of the steam engine regained its rightful number in 1989 after the diesel was retired. The engine was placed in freight service in Nebraska in 1957, 1959 after diesel took over passenger duty. It was saved from being scrapped in 1960 and held the special service. I think I'm a lot of photography. Yes, the engine has run hundreds of thousands of miles to the Union Pacific, Ambassador Goodwill, and excursion runs and appearances. By domain. It's held as Union Pacific Living Legend, especially of Union Pacific experimental crossing between Cheyenne and Laramie, Wyoming. The charter excursion was between, I mentioned Sterling. And here, this was on a day when this was separately from the convention, on a day off, we did just, some of us did take a Gray Line tour to Pike Peak. This was on our way when we were. And while we were there, we didn't actually ride the Prague Railway. Prague Railway is recognized as the world's highest Prague Railway. The Manitou and Pike Peak Prague Railway is an important part of the heritage of the Western United States. It's been running since 1891. That's a picture of the state. And the elevation here is 14,110 feet. Closed for renovation starting in October of 2017. It's expected to reopen in May of 2020. I think from that altitude, the next day I had altitude pictures. I had to run something. This is the view of Pike. Another view of Pike. Okay, now we're all finished with this photo of the NRA. Okay, moving along, next, I just have about 10 or so photos taken on a personal trip to South Florida. This was 10 months ago. And almost all these shots are of tri-rail. Now, this is the first of 6 shots of the Hollywood, Florida tri-rail station. And this train was southbound from Miami. And this is taken from the southbound platform facing north. I skipped. The Tri-Rail began commuter service in South Florida on January 1989, the first of the major commuter startups of the 1990s. And this is facing southbound from the northbound platform.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, you see the end.
If I can interrupt, one of the most interesting things about that Tri-Rail,
Yes.
that's one of the last main lines that was built in the United States.
Oh, it was?
That was opened by Seaboard. It didn't start until 1927.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they used to have only 2 railroads to go to Miami. One was the FEC. That was latter day too. That didn't start until the 90s. And this is a competitive route. It was started by, his name was Warfield, I believe, the president of the Seaboard at the time. Okay?
Yes. I read something about this, so when there was some construction on an interstate, I think I-95, and there was an interruption in bus service. I think this was supposed to be like some temporary service that wound up becoming permanent.
Yes. Yeah.
And this was formed in 1987 by the Florida Department of Transportation to provide temporary rail service while construction includes Y-995 and the parallel Florida Turnpike. This is a close-up of the southbound platform. The southbound platform.
They're all original depots from the 1920s, or at least a lot of them still are. They're outfitted for Tri-Rail, but a lot of them are still original stations.
Yeah, they've painted, I think, at that look from the architecture, the way it was built.
That's why it looked a lot older than 1995, because it was.
Yeah, I'm glad that it kept the historic look, and not a modern look. So I could see the mission style route. Okay, and this is facing north from the north platform. And this is facing north from the southbound platform of the West Palm Beach State. See, there's an overpass. Of the West Palm Beach State. returning to New York on the Silver Star. We took a smoking break in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Very sick.
And the train runs inland between Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia. Because while the Silver Media takes a shorter route, and it takes up a more coastal route, stopping in places like Charleston, while this one stops in Columbia, South Carolina. Okay, so that's it for Florida photos. It's moving along. Now it's time to show the photos from the ERA 26 Washington, D.C. Labor Day. All right, now we'll start with Norfolk, Virginia, the tide. The tide takes commuters from from Port Norfolk Station near the historic Ghent District to the Newtown Road Park and Ride Station at the Norfolk, Virginia Beach City Line. The tide takes stop near the Chrysler Museum of Art, Memorial, and Harbor Park Baseball Stadium. The light rail operates daily. It began operation in 2011. I think there was a bus club trip that ran it. We rode this in 2012. I think that one was actually based out of the Tide Light Rail is run by Hampton Roads Transit, the acronym HRT. Here's now the curve. That's for the photographer in it. Oh, now this, several shots were taken at the Trolley Museum, which is in Colesville, Maryland. And this is of the Toronto Transit Commission car, 42. And in the barn, it was built by the St. Louis Car Company in 1937, but to the 14th Street line in Washington, D.C. It was retired January 28th of 1962. He is advertised to Big Robert Home, right with us. And this looks like Dutch. And the Blackpool transport services are 606, was built by English Electric in 1934. You can purchase this car in 2009 from the Lakeshore Electric Railway Museum. HTS, this is the Dutch car again. Oh, it was assembled by La Bourgeois at the base. Well, I'm not sure how you look like my friend. How do you pronounce it? It was in The Hague, Netherlands, 1971. This car was built by the St. Louis Car Company for assembly by the Canadian Car Foundry Company. It began revenue service in 1951. It was retired in November 1955. The museum purchased from the Lakeshore Electric Railway in the fall of 2009.
I'm getting very sick. I don't know what's wrong with me. No, I hurt myself Monday walking.
Oh, sorry. All right, now this is the DC Streetcar. The first is 7 photos Avenue and Penning Road, northeast. This is the eastern terminus. I think it didn't run too far, if it was a mile or two. The piece of streetcar is a modern streetcar air conditioning with a low floor. The floor allows fast and easy.
Steve,
Yes,
we can't hear you. We can't hear you because Mr. Louderwall is open, so we can't hear you.
but Herb, could you please mute?
There we go. Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're good. All right. Okay. Okay. Now it operates weekdays 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday to Sunday 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The frequency is adjusted to every 20 minutes on April 4th of 2020. The line is a beginning replacement of streetcar service that ran up until January 28th of 1962. Oh, it runs 2.2 miles. Here you see it where it turns around. And if the service began February 27th of 2016, the fare is free, run by the District Department of Transportation. The Wamata line is the orange line that's you see up on the L, and it's the New Carrollton is the eastern terminus of the subway line of the Washington D.C. Metro. Here, this is a telephoto shot where I think at the end it goes back and then it when it comes back it switches. And this is an interior shot. And this is at the other end of the line. The first photo of 4 at 8th Street and Union Station, Western Terminus. Looked like the neighborhood was starting to be partly gentrified. You can see just in the towers on the left. The elegant, refined, sensible luxury apartments. This is another shot. Close-up shot. Side shot. Okay, so we're finished with the ERA convention based out in Washington, D.C. Next, moving along, our next stop will be back in New York. The next series of photos will be at the ERA Hillside shop tour of the Long Island Railroad. That was on May 11th of last year. And this facility, built between 1984 and 1991, covers 30 acres and can maintain up to 60 cars at a time. And M7 cars are on the left. And it was first served by the first station east of Jamaica on the main line, and it was for employees only. It was built on the grounds of the section of Old Band Yard, a railroad freight yard. You can see some of the signals. It's a close-up shot. And this is our tour leader. And the M7 cars, they were built by Bombardier. They were introduced to revenue service in early 2002. Here's one being serviced. All right, this is the tour. close-up wheels. High voltage. The M1 cars, they were introduced on December 30th of 1968. They were built by the Bud Company. I think they were the first new cars introduced since William Ronan took over the FDA. More of the M1 cars. The wheels. Close-up shot. Wide-angle shot of the facility. Another part of the pool. More M1 cars. Side view of the M1 cars. Oh, these are the first of 9 photos of the M9 cars. They were built by Kawasaki and introduced into service on September 11, 2019. So they hadn't yet, at the time of the store, they still hadn't gone into formal revenue service. They were 4 months. And this is when we were leaving our tour, walking back to the return train. Okay, that's it for the photos of the ERA Hillside shop tour. And let's see, moving right along, we now go to next go to just the A1. This was in October 2016. This is the ERA weekend trip where we visited Buffalo and Cleveland. It was based out of Buffalo. This is our first stop. The New York Museum of Transportation, and it was located in West Henrietta, New York, outside of Rochester. This is the New York locator. This was the and this is the caboose from the Long Island Railroad Museum. This was, I forget which train this was. It must have been riding in that. Okay, now the DEDTAR steel interurban car was built by Brill in 1927. I took a few shots of it. This is another one. Close-up shot of it. You see the conductor. This was a limited Dallas car in the barn. And we stopped at the home of the original Buffalo Chicken, the Anchor Bar, established in 1935. There was entertainment going on in the 80s. That's the entire corner. You can see the live entertainment side. And the next day, we went to Cleveland, and this is the Warrensville Van Aken Station, the western terminus of the Blue Line. And this is the Shaker Square Station. The CTA, the Cleveland Transit Authority Heavy Rail, began construction February 4th of 1952 behind Windermere Car Barn near present-day Windermere Station. And the Shaker Square Station is the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority. And heavy rail began revenue service March 15th, 1955 between Tower City and Windermere on the Red Line. This is South Harbor Station. It's the western end of the waterfront line extension of the Blue and Green Line. This is an interior shot. You can see Art Ferguson sitting on the right, facing to the side. And there's Paul Kalka and Sheldon. And this is the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. This is the western terminus of the Red Line. A close-up shot of it. Another shot. Wide angle shot. Looks like. And we went for a dinner at Guarino's Italian Restaurant. This is the Little Italy section of Cleveland. And this is the start of the NFTA shop floor, the Canal side area of Buffalo. I think that stands for Niagara Falls and Transit Authority. The full completion of the rail base at Main Street from the Erie Canal Harbor Station to University Station was made in 1986. On May 18th of 1979, construction on the 6.2-mile Metro rail line between downtown and University of Buffalo South Campus began. Right, Niagara Falls Transportation Authority. You can see the map. They have inspectors that come around. It looks like. Full completion of the rail base was made in 1986. That was from Main Street from the Erie Canal Harbor Station to University Station. See Mike Blicken is on the right. Right near us and further down, see Park Newhouse. On the left is Paul Kalka. And this is that's the late Ira Steinberg, bus driver from Coach Storage. Now it's all leader in the yellow vest. There's a neighborhood surrounding the NFTA shop. Here we can now harbor. It's rounding the curve. And this is the Erie Canal Harbor Station. You see the courtyard Marriott in the background. Now that's normally the downtown terminus, but during special events, the run goes one stop further to Special Events Station. I think it's a short distance away. It's just a good convenience. And this is the NFTA Metro Rail again, that station. downtown Buffalo. You can see outside the station which stop this was. And this is the University Square. This is the other end, the northern terminus.
Remember we got yelled at for taking that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Niagara Frontier Transit Authority Police didn't know we were coming.
Oh,
So they thought it was a bunch of buffs. You're not supposed to take pictures underground there.
oh, I didn't know that.
That's one of them 9/11 things, you know? Ha ha ha.
Oh, yeah, leftover, right, baby.
Yeah. So we were standing there taking the picture, and suddenly a PA came down and says, "You can't take pictures down here."
Must have been a surprise. A close-up shot from that station. Okay, we were on our way up. The escalators. And this is the station outside. You see that the group is leaving, exiting. Okay, so that's it for all the photos of the Buffalo-based race convention. I don't think we have too much left. Okay, next is the A1. This is the Bus Club. These are Bus Club Toronto, or the 2018 Metropolitan New York Bus Club Association trip, based out of Toronto, and the 2019 personal trip to Montreal. I'll start with the personal trip to Montreal in June 2019. Now, this looks like a new car. This is taken interior shot of the Orange Line at Montmorency Terminus. You see they're open. And this is northbound, leaving the Ramazzi station on the Orange Line. See, I got some movement in there. And this is a mural in that station.
Still original.
And this is a close-up of that mural. Another mural in the station. Oh, this is a different station. This is Sherbrooke, which is right near St. Louis Square. And this is from Berry Uckham Station of the Green Line, and this was facing east.
Paris. UConn is the university.
Right here. And see the interesting mural, very decorative colorful mural. And the following shot is a close-up of it. And this mural is taken at the Pompano station of the Green Line. And the mural is by an entrance exit corridor, not on the platform. And this is taken of the murals were on the eastbound platform of McGill Station of the Green Line. This is a close-up of two of those murals. And now on our way to the bus club trip. This was taken, next several photos were taken of the bus club trip based out of Toronto in August of 2018. Now this is the ticket machine at the Oakville, Ontario GO station, which is the commuter rail that runs, I think, as far west as Hamilton, Ontario. I'm not sure if it goes as far as Niagara Falls. Oh, yeah, it does go as far as Niagara Falls. Okay, you can see the station. You can see the schedule of our trains coming and going. This is now this is the original Western Terminal, Oakville. That's an exterior of the Oakville station. It's like I think Via and Go both stop there. This is a Go train. Another Go train. I think Go is an acronym for Government of Ontario. You can see just you see the double decker cars, and just like Andrew Grahl taking the photo. And this is the Long Branch Loop at Oakville, Ontario. That's still one of the old cars. I think they're in the process of being retired. And Streetcar 501, it runs from Long Branch Loop, Oakville, to Neville Park Loop, and it's nearly 25 kilometers. 501 is the longest streetcar route in North America. Rush hour riders complain of never-ending delays. And this is the Hawker Siddeley LRV L2 class, which is what this car series that it was is a part of. It was built between 1977 and 1980. These are non-air conditioned. These CLRVs are being retired after nearly 40 years of service. Now, this is the Kalka on the left, Erlin on the right. This is on northbound 1 train between Pioneer Village and Highway 407. You can see that they're open between cars. And these are the Toronto Rocket TR cars. And they're connected with open gangways. They run on one line as 6-car trains. They're the newest TTC subway car. They began operation in July 21st of 2011. That's Stuart Werner, just on the right, facing the camera. And this is the Ion light rail line at Fairway Station in Kitchener. Now, there was no testing this day. This was before the line went into operation. I think we were hoping that we would have some photos of the cars that they could test, but that didn't work out. This is run by GRT, the acronym for Grand River Transit. And construction began in August of 2014. Revenue operations began June 21st of 2019. And that was like 10 months after we were there. The line runs between Kitchener and Waterloo, Ontario. And this is another shot of the station. And this is a stop that we made in London, Ontario. You can see there was a pizzeria and deli there that was named after the popular movie Cousin Vinny's. That was in 1993. That was Fred Quinn's last role. He was the judge. That was classic. It was Joe Pesci. This is another view of Cousin Vinny's Pizza and Deli. And there were some new stations that were built. This is the Vaughan Metropolitan Center Station, one of 6 new stations opened December 17th of 2017 with that extension. And the extension went from Downsview Park to Vaughan Metro Center, which is where we are here. I like the lighting. Here you see an emblem for that station. And this, the transit Toronto, the TTC system opened for revenue service March 30th, 1954 as a single line under Yonge Street, totaling 7.4 kilometers with 12 stations. Today it comprises 75 stations on 4 lines. That TTC stands for Toronto Transit. And this is the Pioneer Village Station, one of 6 new stations opened December 17th, 2017. And this was a free day, so we did a group of us did a number of things, writing this, and then also going to the harbor cruise. And this is the York University Station. Next year we have Wilson Station on that same 1 train line. And this one was renovated for the extension. It's not a new station. They did a nice job. I like that curved ceiling. And now we are outdoors. We're finished. This is at King Street, University Avenue. Car 4034 was acquired by the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois, November of 2019. It was regauged for standard gauge trackage. And I think that this car was from the same series that we saw earlier with the car 501 by the branch route that was just the Hawker Siddeley. This is the station of St. Andrew Station of the One Young University line. And this is at King Street, University Avenue, Toronto. And these Bombardier low-floor air-conditioned models were introduced in 2014. They were built in Thunder Bay and Kingston, Ontario. This is the Dundas westbound branch. That's where it's heading. And the Bingham Loop is a station and turning loop at the eastern terminus of the 503 King Road streetcar lines of the TTC. And this is taken between Victoria Park and Bingham Avenue. The curve. And this is Streetcar Route 509 car that I took at the Harborfront terminus. The other terminus is Union Station. It was a pretty warm day. It was in the high 80s. It was nice to have air conditioning. Right. And this is the start of the 1-hour cruise. Again, this was of Toronto Harborfront Port. The Toronto skyline. The CN Tower. With the silhouetted shot. And this is when it was all over. We rode that boat. And this is the day when we were returning to the Amtrak Niagara Falls station. Oh, and here, this was from a trip run by the bus club in the year 2010, also based out of Toronto. And this week I took these near Union Station. This is a division of Metrolink. Go Transit is a regional public transit service for the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. So the next several shots I really took from this point. You see two double deckers. Here's got the entire length of this train. A close-up shot. And this is one photo taken of the 2011 Bus Club Association trip to Montreal. And this was taken from the Radisson station of the Green Line of the Montreal Metro. And this train is eastbound and it runs on rubber wheels. This was taken in 2011. You can see that those are the older cars. I'm not sure how many of these are still running. And this is the bonus. This was taken on June 18th of 2017. This looks like an IND type car. And this was taken June 26th of 2016, another vintage Brighton line train. The day when they charted those old trains. And these are three-car BU wooden L concepts. One was built in 1903, and two were built in 1907. Okay, and that's it for this particular trip. Okay, so I think I covered, shown. Okay, so that's it for the program, the show tonight. Okay, hope that you just did enjoy the show. And I have recorded the program. Now, with those of you who missed any part of it, we did create a YouTube channel, and I will be uploading just this program in a couple of days, a few days. Okay, I might as well just stop sharing. We're all through here. Okay, it was nice to have gotten a large crowd. Okay, okay. Anyone have any comments or questions? You can unmute.
Moment.
Yeah.
Steve, I have a comment on the Montreal thing. I want to make sure everybody knows Montreal does not pay for the upkeep of the escalators. There were so many of the escalators in our private trip that we had to walk up the stairs.
Oh, it was one particular station where we
Yes,
had.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget which station that was. I think we were going to go have dinner someplace. It was a trip that Paul and
Lionel Grove, that was a killer.
Yeah, that was some flight. I forget if it was one of those stations where the lines come together. If I saw it,
Oh,
Yeah.
I would remember what it was. Okay, so
one of the transfer stations.
Thank you very much, Steve. Those were terrific pictures.
oh, thank
Yes, I
You're really
agree.
great.
Thank you.
and it
It was a great program.
Nice.
drawn this many participants.
How many?
I think at times I think we had as many as 18. Well, I think
Yes, I saw that too.
at the
Very good. Very good. Hopefully we'll build on that next month for the George Meyer films on the Erie Lackawanna system.
Mm.
yes. Okay. So
Hopefully a little longer.
yes, I did send out to some a number of individuals and some officers of the ERA the link to our YouTube channel. Okay, so
Right.
I think this was a success. We've never had this many of a Zoom meeting. Well, at the upper team.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Okay.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good night. Okay.
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 Very good, very good. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
It was good.
No
Okay.
50/50 today, right?
What's that?
No 50/50 today?
No.
No.
Up to 18, Gary.
Love a virtual 50/50.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay. It's my pleasure. Okay. It worked out. See, folks, to get a crowd of this size, it was worth the effort. Well worth the effort.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. Good night, all.